Hey, welcome back to Franker Farm. So today we're going to work on the cab corners and doing this rocker panel here. And from the last video we did the bedside here, and now we get to deal with all of this fun stuff in here. And hopefully I can only have to cut out about half of that rocker panel, so we'll see how the metal looks when we get in there. Alright, so from pictures of what I've seen on the internet, I really need to be cutting in here, and I need to be drilling out these spot welds in here. But I'm just kind of taking it slow for now. I just made a rough tape line, should be good enough. I've got a ton of panel over there that I can cut off. And I just kind of want to peel this away. I've never done this before, so I just want to be really slow at it. I think there's probably a spot weld here that I'm going to have to pull off. Nothing's really happening yet. It is free. Okay, I was wondering what I was seeing in there. That's spray foam. That's not bad. There's some spray foam inside the cab there too. I figured it was for something like that. And I guess the inner cab corner is gone as well, which is why they decided to spray foam it. Makes more sense. I don't think I'll be drilling that spot weld out. I think I'm just going to do this until it falls off. That's what I'm talking about here. So that'll be an inner cab corner for sure as well. Not a big deal. A little bit more than I expected, but that's fine. Off there. There we go. She's free. Somebody tried to do a nasty Bondo job before. Gross. So I don't want to cut too far into the cab, so I think that's going to be it for now. And then I'll probably have to get an actual chisel out. I'm just going to see if I can kind of work this away. Probably have to get a metal chisel and pop this off. From what I've seen in other pictures, this is just kind of glued on, and that's not, I didn't cut through any metal there. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, so that's peeling away fairly well. I might not even have to chisel it. I already popped one of those welds. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I think I've got some progress now. I kind of figured out a plan as I was doing it. This is what's left of the inner cab corner here, and I've got my rocker panel starting here, rotten, going down and across. I still have to I still have to drill out these spot welds all along here to get it separated from the inner, starting around here. And now it's free to move from here. I'm gonna take this one, I think, when I get it off, and I'll mount it up on here, because there's just not really an easy way to do a calculation on you know, how far apart and at what point do I keep on measuring and remarking that line and stuff. It'll just be easier to mount this one back onto this and then draw a line just a little bit thicker so that I have more room. Yes, we know, hello. So that I have more room to mount this one back onto the truck, and then of course check to make sure that my door fits. So I'm gonna undo those spot welds next. We'll see what happens. Alright, so I'm glad that I did what I did here. You can see how rotten this part is here, where the inner cab corner mounts up to the rocker panel. And in here, this is fairly solid, just needs to be cleaned up before I weld it. Somebody tried to do some Bondo work at one point, and this guy's just full and totally rotten. So we'll pull all this out. But the actual internals of it look like they're in really good shape. You can still see paint on that there. So I'll clean all this up, of course, and we'll measure out the new panel. And back inside the rocker panel here where I cut, it looks pretty good too. You can see original paint in there as well. There's a little bit of bubbling just kind of where my finger is, so I may cut this just a little bit more this way here, because it looks like it's fairly good metal into about here. So I'm just going to do that. I'll cut out another few inches, and that's okay. That's why I have such a big rocker panel. All right, that's the panel. Show you guys how twisted it is here. So have a look down that. It's pretty bad. So I've had to kind of change my plans here. I just realized that this is going to be way too much work to try to butt weld all of this and all of this down into here. So what I started doing now is I've cut in here, and I think this is the cab floor that I'm looking at right here. So I'm not going to cut that. I've cut through this. I just have to go very gently through here, and same thing here, because I'm going to start to get this inner rocker panel, if I'm not too careful, or the cab floor where that kind of mates in there. So I'm just going to continue to cut this out with a little Dremel tool here and here. Then I've got a bunch of spot welds to find and drill out, and hopefully I can do a pretty good job of drilling those out, and then I can just mount that whole rocker panel right in there, and then it should be real fast. A little bit of welding over here and just a little bit of welding across there, and it should be done. With the exception, of course, of the inner cab corner and the outer cab corner. So I think that's going to be a lot simpler. All right, so probably about 1 minute ago I said that how easy this was going to be to get off. It is an absolute joke. There's tons of spot welds to get off. So I did the right thing and took the biggest pair of pliers that I had and tried to peel the cab or the rocker panel away from the cab floor. And I drilled out as many spot welds as I could find. And they're in there. GM did a really good job of welding those on. It was really hard. There's also some glue in there holding the panels in a bit too. So there's always that to deal with. Now I've got this out, I'm going to clean up the rust and soon we'll be welding in the new panel. So here's what I have so far. This is pretty ugly. It's going to take a lot of grinding and stuff. I did angle grind this edge, everywhere that I'm going to weld. I'm not sure why. I'm still having a bit of a hard time with penetration and getting it to grab into both sides. So it's been kind of slow. Turned up the heat, turned down the wire feed setting. I'm going to have to bang this around just a little. Join here. This is nice and flush. I'm happy with how this is going so far. This is lining up fairly well. Down here, this is lining up fairly well. Pretty happy with it so far. So I'm just gonna keep going around, little bits, tacking it in. This is gonna have to be hammered inwards to meet this, that's fine. And this here is not gonna be totally perfect. I'll have to bang this one or bend this one out to make that match up better, and then the weather stripping is gonna come down over this anyways, and you won't see it, so should be good. All right, so now I'm at a point where I've drilled my new spot weld holes, and same thing to the inner rocker panel. I drilled a couple of spot weld holes down here as well, and I'm just grinding just to kind of figure out my angles and stuff. Everything's going together fairly well. I've got a little bit of a bump here where it's higher here and a little bit lower there. I'm just going to keep working at that. I did run out of wire, so I'm down for today, and I'm going to hit this from the back as well. Just knocked a couple of welds out over here, and I still have to do this and see how that goes, and then I can put the inner cab corner on and then put the outer one on, and that should be it.